There we go. Well, good evening and welcome to Thursday evening Breathing Buddies once more. Tonight we are going to be looking at the idea of calming a racing mind using the breath. So all the similar things that we usually do, but with a slightly different focus, which I guess is a word that's going to come up a few times. 100% nasal breathing if you can, please. We're not going to do any of the congestion clearing exercise. We're just going to kind of drop straight into it tonight. And we're going to be working with air hunger quite a bit. So just, be careful if it starts to provoke any anxiety, or if your breathing becomes erratic in any way, then just take a step back, in the sense of take some deeper breaths and then come back to the exercise when you feel a bit better. But hopefully we won't get there. We only ever step up to the edge of it in these gentler sessions in the evening. Okay, let's start just by checking in. Maybe you want to sit with your hands on your lap, or one hand on your chest and the other on your belly, whatever works for you right now. Maybe if it feels right, you could close your eyes. Just go inside. And don't change anything right now. Just notice. Particularly have a think about your mental state right now, however you choose to define that. Are you feeling nice and calm at 8 o'clock in the evening? Or perhaps the mind is a bit busy. Maybe you're ruminating on things that have passed and can't be changed. Perhaps you're trying to predict what's going to happen tomorrow. Not looking to change anything right now, just noticing. And do those thoughts, however they manifest for you, do they translate into physical feelings that you might be carrying along with you now? Now maybe start to focus on how you're breathing. Does your breathing feel slow and relaxed? Is there any tension? If you're not already breathing into the belly, try and do so. Try and relax your shoulders. Check in with your jaw. We sometimes hold a lot of tension without realizing it in the jaw. And just take some deeper, slower breaths into the belly. Inhalation, you'll feel the belly expand, the lower ribs move laterally. Maybe feel a bit of movement in the back body, 360 degrees of breathing. Even just taking a few moments to do this can help to quieten the mind. But what we're going to do today is mainly going to be based around the breathe light exercise that we do most weeks. It's the one where I invite you to breathe a bit less air, and we play with that very edge of air hunger. So don't change anything just yet. This has got a little bit of a twist to it. Begin just by noticing the air as it enters and leaves your nostrils. The slightly cooler air as it enters your nostrils. The warmer air as it leaves. And we're going to use this this feeling as a measure of focus and concentration. So focus is where you choose to place the spotlight of your conscious experience. So right now, the eyes are closed. We've taken out the biggest stimulus that we have, which is the sight. And you're trying to place the focus on the feeling of the air moving in and out through your nose. Concentration is the ability to keep the focus there, to remain the spotlight in that place. So just breathing naturally, noticing the air moving in and out through your nose. And when your mind wanders, and it will wander because it's the nature of mind to wander, just note that it's happened without judgment. It's not a failure in this kind of exercise to have the mind wander. That's just what it will do. It's inevitable. Instead, when you've noted that a thought has crept in or that you've drifted away on a cloud of thought, just bring your attention back to your breath, back to the air moving in and out through your nose. And each time it happens, try to breathe a little bit less air. This is a kind of self-guided breathe light. It's one of the ways we discussed last week, how to think about air hunger. You might think about a container that you're filling with air with each breath. It's called the tidal volume, the amount of air that you breathe in each breath. Whatever that is at any given moment, you can call that 100%, filled up the canister. Each time your mind wanders, you might want to try to reduce the size of that canister by 10, 20%. Cooler air entering your nostrils. Slightly warmer air leaving. I'm going to drop 2 Zen bombs today. First one I may have used before. It's a Zen maxim. When walking, walk. When eating, eat. Can you remain present and focused with concentration? If your mind feels settled, take another step closer to the air hunger. See if you can get right up to it. Dance around that line. Maybe the diaphragm is barely moving. And you get to the point where the breathing is so light that even the tiny hairs in your nostrils stop moving. If you're barely breathing, then there's barely any movement in the body, and the mind starts to still as well. But if it wanders, bringing it back to that feeling of cooler air and warmer air entering and leaving the nostrils. Something you might like to consider now. Are you finding it easier to remain focused now that you've created this little bit of air hunger? Most people, in most instances, the answer's yes, and there are a few things going on. Biochemically, you're allowing the concentration of carbon dioxide to build up in your blood. This improves blood flow, tissues, muscles, organs in the body. It improves oxygen delivery as well. It's the catalyst for the release of oxygen from the red blood cells. So the brain's getting what it wants, what it needs, a good supply of blood and a good supply of oxygen. Or also, when we practice this exercise, we're playing very gently with one of our primal fears. We're right on the very periphery of that feeling of suffocation. And when one of these primal fears rears its head, it's hard, if not impossible, to think about anything else. It focuses the mind. It's kind of like we're creeping up and tickling a beast, but it could wake up. So we need to focus and concentrate. Just staying at that very edge of the air hunger. And my second Zen bomb, which I thought felt appropriate for this evening. It's a koan that's attributed to Joshu, who was a Zen master in the 8th century. He was called the silver-tongued teacher. His teachings were very clear, to the point. Monk enters a monastery and seeks out Joshu. Monk says, "I'm new to the monastery. Can you offer any guidance? Joshua says, have you had any breakfast yet? Monk replies, yes, I've eaten. Joshua continues, then go wash your bowl. Where is your focus now? Is it still on the end of your nose with that feeling of air hunger? Or has it drifted, become diffuse, a little wider? It has, that's fine. Just bring it back. Now this knowledge that you can focus the mind by playing with air hunger, it can be useful day to day. Of course, we can't always sit down quietly like this, so this is ideal. But if you've got something stressful coming up, then playing with breath retention and breathing a bit less air can be a useful tool to employ in the hours, minutes, moments leading up to whatever event it is. So that could mean pacing, but exhaling, holding your breath for 10 or 15 paces until you feel the air pressure, the air hunger building up. Then breathing normally again. And repeating this a few times. Even that action can help to stop the mind fizzing and wandering around. Focus on the task in hand. Of course, then if you can add to that some quiet, light, slow breathing like this, all the better. Okay, we're going to drop this exercise now. So just start breathing normally. However you want to, perhaps taking some slightly deeper, lower breaths. Now we're just going to do some slow breathing. So I'm going to count this for us. So it's going to be in for 4, out for 6. We'll do a few rounds like that, then we'll add a little pause at the end. When we get to that 4-6 pause, that's the shape of an ideal breath at rest. So it's a good training, it's a good tool to practice with, a good way of training the breath. So we need to get in sync for this. So when you're ready, exhale, then breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out. Can I add a pause at the end? 4, 5, 6, pause. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pause. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pause. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pause. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pause. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pause. And in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pause. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out. I'm going to drop the count in a minute. 4, 5, 6, pause. Breathe in, out. Carry on at your own rate here, your own pace. Making sure the exhalation is longer than the inhalation. Little pause at the end. The pause is kind of part of the exhalation in the way. The longer you can make either the controlled exhalation, keeping it relaxed, or the longer you can make the pause at the end, the better. It shows that your body's tolerating carbon dioxide very well. You should find if you practice these exercises regularly, that exhalation, that pause at the end will naturally become longer, will extend. And now, as you're breathing nice and slowly and deeply, can you find a way to add a tiny little bit of air hunger to it? Or, if you're happy just breathing like this, carry on like this. In fact, this exercise of breathing with an extended exhalation, a pause at the end, this is it does the same job as breathing light. It's restricting the breath. It's gentler, takes a little longer. It teaches the body to tolerate carbon dioxide, but without lifting any heavy weights. So we're coming to the end of our breakfast now. The question is, can you go and wash your bowl with your full attention? Sure, you've had your mind, your spotlight focused on what we've been doing for the last 20 minutes or so. Now, to gradually just let the breathing head back to where it wants to be. Maybe start thinking about opening the eyes. Can you move forward with whatever's going to be happening next in your evening? And do it with as much awareness as you can, as much focus as you can. Do the next thing. And then do the next thing. Okay, thank you for coming along to Breathing Buddies again this evening.